for staying with Facing the Nation. If you're now joining us, you missed a great conversation regarding the update, the Jubilee update that I've been giving you, and you've also missed Chris Jones's sentiments on local government elections. But our conversation or discussion on local government elections continue this week, and I am happy to be, in a sense, surrounded by three male candidates this week, three male APNU+AFC candidates. As you know, March 18th, that's next Friday, is local government elections for Guyana. And it's my pleasure to have all three of you on today. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
All right, of course, with me is Lyndon Cave. He is the APNU+AFC candidate for Constituency 5. I know some of us are still learning what communities are in what constituency, so he'll tell you all about Constituency 5 in a bit. Mr. Ahmad Rahman, he is from Constituency number 7. And of course, Rodwell Lewis, who is also a candidate, and he is the representative of the Pleasance Industry List. And when I say list, I mean the list for that community, those communities, for the local government elections. Rodwell, I'd like to start with you. Let's talk about you being representative of the list and your further involvement, especially as a candidate.
Good afternoon, Guyana. I am more than pleased to be a part of the APNU team representing the Industry Pleasance Local Authority area. Now that area consists of 5 communities, and the the 5 communities here, and we are contesting 7 of the 9 constituencies within the Pleasance Industry Local Authority area. But the other 2 that we're not contesting are Industry North and Industry South. The others, we are very confident that we can able to move from point A to point B and be proper representing our communities.
Why should myself and, of course, persons of that community vote for your team?
Now, why? It is very easy. We are living in that community, and I am advocating all the while that stranger don't know burial ground. And we are living there. We are familiar with the issues that are plaguing our communities. And because we are familiar, we have earmarked the way forward. We have put together a competent team that will be able to manage the welfare of our communities. And because we have recognized the downfall of the previous IMC that were imposed upon that communities, and they were neglecting the regular meetings with the community, so we were able to voice our concerns and get issues being addressed. Hence, we're asking for you to vote APNU come March 18, because we are ready and willing to take up the mantle and try to address most of the issues that are facing us within the Industry Pleasance area.
All right, let me talk to before I come to Ahmad, because Ahmad is Georgetown. He'll tell you exactly which part of Georgetown. But let me talk to Constituency 5, Lyndon Cave. Lyndon, what are the communities in Constituency 5? So again, for people who are now learning the numbers related to the communities so that they can understand.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. The communities there is basically Goodvowacton and Sparnam. So you have Goodvowacton, Sparnam North. That's the actual name of the constituency. That the boundaries for that constituency will be from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the railway embankment between the Ogle Airstrip Road and the Victoria Road, Pleasance.
All right. What are the issues you have been focusing on? Because I know every candidate now, every possible candidate has been doing lots of campaigning and so on. What are some of the issues you've been addressing?
Well, we have a few issues in that constituency, and funny enough that you would ask that question, because myself being one of the youths in Pleasance, we actually have a major issue, which I have taken it upon myself to be the person that is bearing that burden. Our community center, for reasons unbeknown to us, was reduced to a pasture. And about 10 months ago, when
Let me jump in here before you go to the 10 months ago. So what you're saying, there's a building there, but it's taken over by bush? That's what
I'm saying there's a building there, but the rest is bush,
It's bush.
or should I say was bush?
So you
because
can't occupy the building at this point. All right, continue.
Correct. So what we did is 10 months ago I said, listen, why is it that our community center, being structurally one of the best community centers on the East Coast, if not in Guyana, why is it that we are not using it for its intended purpose? So I said, listen, I'll go around and see what can be done, and fast forward to now, what we have been able to do, we actually started cleaning up the ground. So,
Right.
the guys are able to go out there and play football. Myself being a cricketer, we're still doing work to get the cricket back up at the ground. But, if you were to look at what was and what is now, the persons in my constituency already have an idea that, we have not waited for the elections to come to an end. We have started the work,
And I like that. And viewers, this is what I keep telling us as Guyanese. We cannot sit and expect everything to be handed to us on a silver platter or on silver platters. We need to work for it. So what you're saying is that your group, you even got your own finances to do the work on the community center to bring it back to life.
Yes, basically what we did, we went around and said, listen, you guys know that we can't use this community center. So everybody, let's just come together and see how much we can raise. Because the thing is, I believe that if we can start, whatever we do, then others can see, well, hey, we're not just coming and say, give us $1 million or whatever. We are actually putting in our 5 cents, and that 5 cents has actually taken us to a place that, in the inception, we didn't think that we could have achieved. I mean, there are several hiccups along the way, but, the progress is tangible, and we are only poised to go even further. Because I am more than confident that, basically for me in my constituency, I feel like we're just waiting for the results to become known.
Okay.
Because I am going to win hands down.
All right, congratulations on that. And it's good to have that positive mindset. Let's talk about, I always like to ask most of the candidates this in terms of the computation. How many persons, aside from yourself, are running in constituency 5? And I don't mean APNU+AFC, I mean the other teams.
Yeah, well, in our area, we only have the APNU and we have the PPP.
Okay.
See, so we have a PPP candidate. I think his name is Mr. Singh. Strange enough, we have not seen or heard from Mr. Singh other than we know that his name was posted, as the competition. But we have not seen any activity from the PPPC in our area. And, as I said, I've been telling people when they ask, maybe this guy is planning a surprise attack. I said, I don't mind whatever his strategy is.
Yeah,
because the thing is, I didn't drop into that community. I grew up there. So the persons that I know will turn out to vote for me are persons that would have watched me grow, and they see, the potential. They see the things that you are so concerned about that you feel like, hey, why not do it yourself? So like I said, for me, it's just a matter of waiting for that day and having those results formalized.
Great, I like that because I keep saying too, I am also pro-youth. Finally, before I come to Ahmad, what are some of the other issues? I mean, it's good. I like what you've done with the community center. What are some of the issues you, once given the opportunity to do that, you'd like to address for the community? And I'd love for you to focus on youth in this case.
Well, like I said, it's funny that you asked that question because being a part of this APNU+AFC group is just an extension of the work that I'm trying to do in my community, because I'm also a part of the Plaisance Sparandam Good for Acting Development Association, which is an NGO in Plaisance. Okay. And we have actually gone to the lengths of trying to resuscitate job creation in the community, so much so that we're actually piloting a program under the government of Guyana's SLED initiative, which is Sustainable Livelihood and Entrepreneurial Development, to actually train youths in the community to be computer repair technicians. Because, come around our village, you see guys there that don't necessarily have a lot to do when the day comes. And, we feel that once this program gets going, that's just one of the many things that we will be doing for the youths in our community. I mean, we have the other issues like the roads, we have poor drainage, We have non-existent street lighting. These are things that the expand to the length and breadth of Guyana is not something that just we are faced with. But for me, like I said, being a young person, I am heavily focused on the community center restoration and job creation for our young people, because the young people are the persons that actually make up the large majority of the voters. So if you keep that group happy, then the rest will also be happy by extension, because you have the older persons in the community who have been advocating for somebody to get up and try to find ways to engage the youths. And we have a case where youths might be saying, from my interaction, youths will be saying, well, the older folks don't necessarily welcome us, and the older folks say, well, you can't necessarily get to engage the youths for an extended period because they seem to not be so focused. So what I'm trying to do is just bridge that gap, say to the youths, listen, we have a responsibility, to pick up from the older folks. And by extension, the older folks have a responsibility to teach us, So I just want to be part of that process where we bring the two groups together.
All right, perfect. Well said. Let's now talk about constituency 7. Ahmad Rahman, and I must beg his forgiveness for mispronouncing his last name incorrectly. Ahmad Rahman, welcome to you. Welcome to Facing the Nation. Viewers, I should also remind you that this is a long-serving member in the PNC. As you know, PNC is one of the main partners in a partnership for national unity, and some may also know that he's also the proprietor of 102, that's channel 102 for those of you who watch television or into television. You are the APNU+AFC candidate in constituency 7. First off, let's talk about what are the communities in constituency 7.
All right, the communities in constituency 7, I'm the proportional candidate. And I'm running with Mr. Ranpasad. He's the candidate. And our boundary are Robstown, Rob Street, Stabrook, Newtown, South Road, and we have border, and etc.
Okay.
Right? And we is doing a lot of work. And we are encouraging the young people to come on board, to vote and help. I'm even assisting them financially.
Okay, great.
And I'm a serving councillor for the City Council, APNU. And we have a lot of problems that we would like to get out there and to garnish a lot of funds for the City Council, which in the last government didn't give us a cent. They took it back from us. For instance, GT&T does not pay the pool. GPL does not pay the pool. And then we are garnishing all the expense for the city lighting, which is millions of dollars. The only money that we used to get is from the revenues from the market, the rating tax, plans, and that is not sufficient.
So, but okay, in a sense, all that has now to some extent changed, and we're hoping that after local government elections, you get much greater
Well,
improvement.
we're hoping for that, and I know it will change.
Okay.
Because the president, Mr. Ranger, always said to us, you want a clean city, and nothing will stop us from doing that.
And we're already seeing it.
And we already seen it. And when we was there in the city council, which I'm still there, we had a town clerk. She was a square peg in a round hole. And no matter what you tell her, it's a different story. And if she can't get you, she victimize you. And I'm one of the person that is victimized. But I'm still here fighting.
Yes, and the situation is better now.
Better.
I see Rodwell chiming in there. Rodwell, you have some sentiments that you want to add?
No, what I want to actually echo with with one of my comrades is to keep our eyes on the prize and let us focus exactly on what we ought to do within our communities. Right? We all have our work cut out, and there will be distractors. There will be individuals who might want to criticize or what, and so. But as long as we know exactly what we want, we should be able to work towards that. And this 3 years, the next 3 years, we will not have to be fighting that because we will deliver on our promises.
Okay, all right. And Kev, you want to add? Linden, you wanted to add? And I keep coming back to you too because it's not only about youths in your community, but youths all across our country. The good that local government elections will do for them.
Yeah, well, you see, what I am expecting is that after these elections, the spark that we would have created in Pleasance will, overflow into our neighboring communities and then eventually the rest of the country. So, after those elections, we are going to put things in place that will see us progress from the level that we're currently at to that place where we want to go, which, is a nation where our young people are empowered and, there's improved participation in sports and sports education, and just have young people actually take up the mantle of being the leaders of this country the way that it should be. Because, from time to time you would hear a person saying, well, they're these senior folks here, where are the youths? But, it's not necessarily a case where the older folks don't want to include the youths. Is that the youths, for one reason or the other, aren't making themselves available to be included. So what we will be doing, in our community is just creating the mindset, creating the frame of mind where youths open up themselves and say, listen, it is my responsibility as a citizen of this country to contribute to that development. And I'm very confident that we're going to see it happen with the plan that we have.
Wonderful. Gentlemen, I have to wrap up my conversation with you very soon, but before I do that, again, March 18th, local government elections day. Beginning with you, Ahmad, just a final word of encouragement for persons to go out and vote on that day.
Well, I'm encouraging all the people, APNU, AFC, to go out and vote for a change and vote like a boss. And I think a little more to this, we should be given a holiday.
Okay.
Because Guyanese like holiday.
But you would agree that in life we don't always get what we like.
I know that, but at least they could come to some kind,
Well, let's see how it works. At the end of the day, it's the government of the day has
have
to
to do
decide.
that,
Yes,
huh?
and we put them there because we trust them.
And
So
the
let's
next
see
thing
what
too,
will happen.
and you can see Georgetown how it is getting green and greener. And there's a lot of work we put in. The drainage and all the businessmen that do the wrong things, when we get back in there, we're going to fix everything right. We're not going to victimize anybody. We have to follow the rules.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of rules that is not following. Because when the city council, the engineer department do something, they go to the higher level and they get it done. So we look like nothing. And I hope that will change. And I know it will change.
Exactly. We're seeing the changes. Thank you very much, Ahmad. Rodwell now, some closing sentiments and encouragement to vote
Thank
for
you,
me.
Malika. I would like to use this opportunity to just inform the general public, come Saturday at 6:30 p.m., the Industry Pleasance area will be having its final rally to educate and to close off our campaign. Our guest speaker for the rally is expected to be the Prime Minister and Ms. Annette Ferguson, the Honorable Ms. Annette Ferguson. Those are our two speakers for that night. That's Saturday, tomorrow, the 12th, at the Pleasance Railway Embankment. I also would like to let the electors within that community recognize, for you to be a part of the process and to continue to change, to let you know that your voice is your vote. Therefore, come March the 18th, you're voting solidly for APNU plus AFC.
Thank you, Rodwell. And finally, some sentiments from you, Linden.
Well, I just want to encourage all the persons, not only in my constituency, but in our entire LA, to come out and vote, because let's move away from this thing where we stand up and we say who's doing what and who's not doing what. There is a process that needs to be followed, and the first part of that process is for us to get up, go out, and vote on March 18th. I'm confident that the people in our local authority area know who they need to vote for. And for those of us who are not sure, that is definitely the APNU+AFC. So come out early, March 18th, and get it done. Regardless of if it's a holiday or not, we can still do a lot of voting before we go to work, when we're on lunch, and even in the afternoon. So whatever it is, we're going to work with it because things need to change.
My kind of young man. Positive attitude. Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Of course, viewers, I trust that you didn't miss this conversation. Constituency 5, APNU+AFC candidate Lyndon Cave. Of course, Ahmad Rahman from Constituency 7. And Rodwell Lewis, representative of the Pleasance Industry List. And when I say list, I'm talking about the local government elections list. I will take a quick break. On the other side of the break, it will be time for me to wrap up today's program. Stay tuned. This is Facing the Nation. All right, thank you very much for staying with Facing the Nation this week. Certainly a very informative, or I should say very informative discussions. Both sets, well, the first single guest and then the second set of guests. It really was informative to hear from them, and they basically taught you a lot today. It is almost time for me to wrap up, but a few, if you want to call it housekeeping matters, some reminders. You heard from Rodwell that the final rally for the East Coast community, the final APNU+AFC rally, of course, that is before local government elections, which is on Friday. Their final rally is tomorrow. That is Saturday, the 12th of March, 2016, at the Pleasance Market Square, and it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. I am told that Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, is expected to be one of the guest speakers. They are also expected to be graced by the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Moses Nagamutu. So those are the two main speakers expected at tomorrow's final rally at Pleasance Market Square. That is tomorrow, Saturday, the 12th of March, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. For Region 4, the final rally for Region 4 will be held on Wednesday, that is next Wednesday, the 16th of March 2016 at 5:30 p.m. at the Roxanne Burnham Gardens ground. I think that is what it's called. That entire area there that has been recently transformed. The rally will be kept there. The main speaker is expected to be the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Brigadier David Granger. Apart from the Brigadier, the Honorable Prime Minister and the First Vice President, Mr. Moses Nagamutu, is also expected to be speaking at that rally. That's the final rally for Region 4, Wednesday the 16th of March 2016 at 5:30 p.m. Those of you who follow me on social sites, on whether it be on Facebook or elsewhere or on YouTube, I will try to remind you as we go closer to the day for that final rally. Because of course it's Region 4, so it's going to be very, very large. Of course, as you know, Region 4 is largely and highly populated. So those are some housekeeping matters for you. Now it's my turn to encourage you to go out and vote on the 18th of March. I know we keep doing a back and forth. I've said it already. I don't really see what, even though my colleagues are entitled to their own opinions, I don't see what the big noise is about having the 18th being a national holiday. If it's not, it's not. We have to try to work around these things. You don't get everything perfect in life. Yes, I understand the comments and the sentiments that if people have to work, it's fatiguing. Well, who said life was easy? And I always remember something I was told by a teacher in high school, that what is easy gotten, or that which is easy gotten, is of little or no value. You have to work for what you want. You have to balance things, try to find balances in your life. And what I am saying is that the heads of various departments, whether it be government entities or private entities, you have to be lenient. I mean, it is not too much to ask for one day for you to be lenient with your staff. If they go, they have, even if they have to take 2 or 3 hours to go get it done, because you're Guyanese and you're supposed to be a patriot or patriots. When you go to the other countries and you obtain citizenships, whether it be America, England, Canada, or wherever, you don't go campaigning for people to change, to have their national holidays in their countries just to suit you. You go to those other countries, you want to be citizens, you have to toe the line and do what everyone else is doing. So we put a government in place because we trusted them. The majority of Guyana voted for that team, the APNU+AFC, and we placed them in government because we trusted them, and therefore we should try as much to trust their decisions. I'm not saying agree with everything that is said and done, because we all have our own opinions. But what I'm saying is that don't make the fact that Friday 18th is not a public holiday a reason for you to stay away from the polls. When you think about what you can gain by voting and what you will not gain if you don't vote, you weigh the odds, you do the balance. So I'm saying do not use it as an excuse to say, well, I can't go because I have to go to work. Try and find a way to work around it. Again, almost wrap up time for me, but I'd just like to also remind you that we're in the celebration period. That's our Jubilee celebration period. I know some people are still confused as to what's going on, but again, we just need to try to listen to each other and put ourselves where the information is. Chris Jones, the director of sport, did tell you earlier that some information is available on the website. He will be doing some updating on his via social media. I will also be doing the same. As fast as we get the information, we can confirm the information, and we know that the information is accurate, we will put it out there. So we just want to urge you just to try and be a bit lenient. And of course, again, we will make mistakes when it comes to certain decision making and so on, but human beings, we are all entitled to those mistakes, and we're trying very, very, very much to work on those mistakes. Next week, Friday, because it is the day for local government elections, I will try to have another official from maybe the Ministry of Communities, just to give you some prepping up and reminding, even though next week time like this, I would expect most of you would have already voted, but I'll try to have someone for that. I'll also be talking about a community development project next week, but for now, I have to run. Thank you very much for tuning in to Facing the Nation. Thank you very much to all my guests. I am Malika Ramsey, reminding you to be good Guyanese citizens, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Goodbye.